In 2024, we'll witness the third T20 World Cup in 4 years, but the first to ever take place in the US. They are co-hosting the event with the West Indies. So with that being said, here are the 2024 ICC Men's T20 World Cup stadiums. Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. This, like many of the other stadiums you'll see in this video, was built prior to another World Cup, the 2007 ODI World Cup. Behind the bowler's arm at each end is a multi-tiered grandstand comprised of covered bucket seating, one of which depicts the country's very cool looking flag. But if you want to lay out in the sun, this place has got you covered, because on either side is some grass terracing, I guess you'd call it. There's a small rock wall between each tier, which makes for an interesting look. It's an all-round lovely ground. Kensington Oval. Having opened in 1871, this is a very historic cricket ground. However, most of the current day stadium was built in preparation for the 2007 World Cup, where it hosted the final. It now has an interesting array of stands, some of which are conventional, others are more distinctive. Most notably the 3W stand, which is reminiscent of the media centre at Lord's that was built prior to the 1999 World Cup. It has something in common with Old Trafford, another English ground, that being the big empty section where temporary seating can be set up. Providence Stadium. If you weren't aware, Guyana is situated on the South American mainland. It's the only English-speaking, cricket-loving country on the continent. There still exists a historic international cricket ground nearer to the city centre, but rather than redeveloping that one like they did at Kensington Oval, they built this out-of-town stadium entirely from scratch. It doesn't have quite as much character as the last one, or indeed its predecessor, but the amenities are top-notch, and I appreciate that very lush grass embankment, as well as this steeply stacked seating. Darren Sammy Cricket Ground. Darren Sammy is the current coach of the St. Lucia Kings, the T20 team that plays here. The stadium was actually named after him while he was still playing, which is certainly a rare occurrence in any sport. I get the feeling he could probably become the Prime Minister of the country if he wanted to. The ground was formerly named after the Beausejour Hills that you can see there in the background, which make for a very picturesque ground. It is a good thing that they changed the name though, because Beausejour is difficult to pronounce, at least for non-French speakers like me. Speaking of picturesque, Arnisvale Stadium is bringing me inner peace and soothing my soul just by looking at it. It's around 25 meters away from the sea. So tranquil. Oh yeah, it's equally close to the country's major airport. This ground doesn't host a whole heap of international cricket compared to some of the other grounds in the Caribbean, so it's a little surprising that it was chosen for such a big event. But it's a pleasant surprise, that's for sure. Brian Lara Cricket Academy Stadium. This place has never been the preeminent ground in Trinidad and Tobago. However, Queen's Park Oval has been known to have some problems with drainage, so this was the safe bet. I hate to keep bringing up the 2007 World Cup, but this ground was supposed to host warm-up matches at the event. However, due to construction problems and increased costs, it wasn't opened until 2008. In 2017, it was extensively renovated to become the top-notch modern stadium that it is today. Central Broward Park is a venue that has, since it opened, effectively been the home of cricket in the US. The Lords of America, I guess you could say. Although the design has a lot more in common with its Caribbean counterparts than it does Lord's. It wouldn't look out of place in Trinidad and Tobago. It is the largest stadium that will be used at the event, thanks largely to the temporary stands that will be set up on the grass embankments, which have doubled the regular capacity of 20,000 to Hang on, let me get my calculator. 40,000. Nassau County International Cricket Stadium is unique amongst the World Cup venues as it's temporary. It's a pop-up stadium being set up on the side of what was just a humble neighbourhood cricket ground. As you might expect, it's not the prettiest of stadiums. It just looks like a bunch of scaffolding from the outside, but it does the job. Well, that remains to be seen, but I'm sure it will do the job. Who knows, maybe the event will prove to be so popular in New York that the Yankees will switch to playing cricket. Ain't gonna happen.
Forget about
what you
it.
talking
Get
about?
out of
No.
here.
Oh, that ain't gonna
That's a
happen.
bunch of baloney.
Grand Prairie Stadium has actually been featured on the channel in the past in the form of a minor league ballpark turned soccer stadium. But now it's a minor league ballpark turned soccer stadium turned cricket stadium, after it was renovated just last year. It was only ever a makeshift soccer stadium, but that renovation transformed it into a proper cricket stadium. The ground now has regular cricket dimensions. Of course, the design is still slightly unusual. There are some obvious signs of its baseball past, but it's already hosted plenty of Major League Cricket. And those were the 2024 T20 World Cup stadiums. Who do you think will win? My money's on the team that scores more runs in the final. They're a sure thing. Thanks for watching, have a good one.